What is going on, folks? My name is Spice, this is Spice Can't Fish, and today we've got ourselves a nice little unboxing. Now, I'm really not a fan of filming or editing unboxings on my channel. It's kind of a pain for me. You just kind of sit there and just kind of do the same thing over and over again. It's very repetitive. It takes a super long time to actually do these. But this is one of my favorite styles of unboxings to do on the channel. We've done a few of these in the past. I usually do one every 3 or 4 months or so. And this is going to be my swim bait unboxing, gearing up for the 2024 season. I am so excited to get all these baits in my hand. As time goes on, I feel like these swim bait unboxings just ramp up more and more and more. The last one was like a $500 one. Before that was like a $300 one. They just seem like they're getting more and more expensive for me, but that also means that we're getting more and more and cooler baits, so that's never a bad thing. I love collecting baits. That's part of the reason why I got into fishing and why I love it so much. And right here we have some absolutely fantastic additions to my swim bait fishing collection. So we're gonna get into this. It's a pretty solid little variety of baits. In this bag right here, we've got a few soft baits, we've got a couple of wake baits, we've got a glide bait, we've even got a multi-jointed swim bait, so pretty solid little selection in this little bag right here. But yeah, I'm really excited to show you guys what's up in here, get this stuff into the arsenal. I got a ton of really fun stuff in this bag. I got some stuff to throw later in the year, got some stuff to throw kind of right now. But yeah, real quick before we start this unbagging or unboxing or whatever you want to call it, I'm actually just gonna grab myself a little brewski and we're gonna crack a cold one for this little unboxing here. Got ourselves a Heineken Light today. I don't know why I'm doing like the unboxing thing for my drink, but that's what we're drinking tonight. Cheers, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Alright, so I guess we're just gonna kind of go in order from stuff that I'm least excited about to most excited about. Not that I'm not excited about any of these baits, but just some of them I'm really excited about, and some of them were like, oh, okay, cool, now I got one. But yeah, just to start off this little unboxing, we got a few of these guys. These are the Megabass Magdrafts. I'm sure if you guys know anything about big swim bait fishing, you guys know these baits. Y'all have probably seen them, thrown them, seen people throw them, catch fish on them. I've had a few of these Magdrafts in the past. I don't really throw them around all that much, and for whatever reason, I've found that they fall apart on me before I actually end up catching any fish on them, but I'm hoping that these ones are going to be a little bit different. Not that it's the bait's fault. I think it's really more my fault. They just kind of sit in my tackle box until they melt and I never get a chance to actually throw them. I just buy them and then they sit there and I never get any use out of them. But these ones we're actually going to try and use this year. If you guys don't know anything about the Magdrafts, they're just a soft plastic little swim bait. Got a little treble hook on the bottom. They also make like Magdraft freestyles, which I didn't pick up because they don't have any of them anywhere near me. Could have ordered them, didn't, because I don't know, I'm lazy, or I just didn't really feel like it. I just figured I may as well pick up the normal Magdrafts instead. If I really want to, I could cut the little harness out of this thing and just like super glue the belly together, or like use cement it or something and then just like throw a beast hook in this thing. Pretty much have the exact same thing. But we got ourselves a few different Magdrafts. These are all the 6-inch size of the Magdraft, so they're 1.25 ounces. Pretty small, manageable little profile. We got one in the albino pearl shad, which is this guy. That's just kind of like an opaque, bright white color, good for like dirtier water and stuff like that. Then we've got the whiteback shad, which is a little bit more of a natural shad color, a little bit better for clear water. There's like a super transparent, like really lifelike, natural looking shad presentation. And last up, we got the brownie color, which is one of my personal favorites, at least in terms of what I've thrown. I think I've maybe gotten bit on the Magdraft 2 or 3 times, and most of the bites, or I think all the bites, have actually been on this brownie color. Again, I've since lost that brownie. I think the tail melted off of it, like I said. For whatever reason, I just have really bad luck keeping these Magdrafts, but I'm going to try and keep them in the packaging for the time being and just try not to take them out until I need to use them. And yeah, just decided to pick up a few Magdrafts just because they're pretty inexpensive and they're pretty solid baits. I'm not really someone who has a ton of confidence or throws a lot of soft plastic swim baits. It's something that I want to get a little bit better with this year though, so that's why I picked up these, and also the next bait that I'll pull out of the bag in a second. Which, now that I'm talking about it, I may as well show you guys. So this is the Nate's Baits. This is the 9.25 inch soft plastic trout bait. This thing is massive. Look at that. Now this bait I kind of picked up specifically for this time of the year when the water is super cold. This tail is supposed to kick super slow, so this is a perfect cold water bait. It's very similar to like the Huddleston or like those Savage Gear swim baits, just a little bit more refined. You can swim it a little bit slower, a little bit more lifelike patterns on them as well. And yeah, I am really excited to throw these things around. I've been seeing these Nate's Baits forever. I've been trying to get my hands on one, but they are kind of expensive, so I've been kind of holding off, especially because I don't really throw a lot of soft plastic swim baits. But like I said, I am really trying to learn them a little bit more this year, so I figured I may as well pick one up for some really cold water. Again, it's kind of perfect for this time of the year when the water's in that high 30s, low 40s. You can really creep this thing really slow, swim it slow along the bottom. If you add some more weight to these things, you can also fish them pretty fast, but I'm probably just going to fish this thing super slow in the winter or when it's super cold out. I think they call this color like blue back trout or something like that. It's just like a supernatural bluish back like bait fish imitator. It's the trout profile, obviously, that looks like a shiner or a shad or really any sort of bait fish. Or I guess I shouldn't say all bait fish, because I guess this doesn't do a great job imitating like a bluegill or a perch or a crappie or something like that. But if you were to imitate like a trout or an alewife or a shad or even a carp, like this would do a great job imitating any of those longer body bait fish. So yeah, really excited to get this one in the arsenal. Again, I really have no experience with these big soft plastic swim baits. Got a couple of fish on them here and there, like I said, but most of my big swim bait fishing, I should say, has been on glide baits and a little bit of multi-jointed swim baits, but mostly just glide baits and lake baits. But hopefully over the year I'll get a little bit more confidence in these big soft plastic baits, and hopefully you guys will see a few fish catches on this big old Nate's baits. Alrighty, something that I have a little bit more confidence in is a wake bait. We got ourselves a brand new one. Well, actually we've got a few brand new ones, but we're gonna start by talking about this one right here. Now, a lot of you guys might not even know what you're looking at right here. This is actually an Elude wake bait. This is called the Gooni Gill. I've never really heard all that much about it, but I saw it for sale for like 70 bucks or something like that, and I had to pick it up. If you guys know anything about Elude Baits, they're one of the most well-known bait makers out there. They've been making baits for years. I don't know who exactly runs the company, but they're really well-known in the swim bait community. And their baits are generally pretty hard to get your hands on, so when I saw one for as low of a price as that, I figured I may as well pick it up. But this is just kind of like your average wake and crank. I think the bait goes down to about like 2.5, 3 foot on a good long cast. Again, just like your standard wake and crank, you can wake that just up along the surface, or you can crank it down a couple of foot. But yeah, I don't really know a whole lot about this bait. I think it's a collaboration between Elude Baits and then this guy Gooni Wolf, if I remember correctly. I don't really know a whole ton about him, but supposedly he's an angler of some sort because he made this collaboration with Elude Baits. But yeah, it's just like a sweet little natural golden shiner bait fish pattern. This could be a really good imitator for a shad, a bluegill, a crappie, a perch, really anything. It's just kind of like an ambiguous color profile, but I really like it. The top of it's got kind of a bluish tint to it. The bottom's got those little orange highlights around the hooks. But mostly it's just kind of like a white shad style bait with some gold on it. Really sweet looking little paint job though. I'm really excited to have this one in the arsenal. Again, don't really know a whole lot about it, but I've seen a couple of swim videos of it. Looks pretty solid. One thing that I think is really interesting that they did with this bait is if you look really closely up in the joints, there's actually like these two little brush things. There's like a couple of inserts in there with like some little like wire brushes in there. And what you can do is you can take some scent and actually put it up in that little insert, and those wire brushes will hold the scent in there and kind of release it slower, as opposed to it all just kind of leaking out after 1 or 2 casts. But yeah, I've never seen a hard bait with scent chambers in it before, so that's pretty sweet. I'm really excited to try that thing out. Maybe we'll have to do a video on it to see if that actually makes a difference at some point or another. But yeah, regardless, got ourselves another little wake bait to add to the arsenal. Not one that I know a whole ton about, but I'm definitely excited to have it and see what it can do. Alrighty, going from a bait that I didn't plan on picking up at all to a bait that I've been thinking about picking up for probably years at this point, I finally got myself a Tiny Clash, folks. So this is obviously the DRT Tiny Clash. Came brand new in the box, although you probably can't tell because everything's all miscombobulated right now, but it did come brand new in the box. And this is just the smaller 6-inch bite-sized version of the Clash 9. If you guys know, I love the Clash 9. I throw it around a whole ton. Spring, summer, fall, winter, I get bit on that thing all year round. I think my last fish of the year was on the Clash 9. One of my first fish of the year was on the Clash 9. It gets bit literally the entire year. But I've never decided to actually pull the trigger and pick up a Tiny Clash. For whatever reason, I just never decided it was worth it. For a little 6-inch bait, a lot of the time you see them go for like $100, $125, which I think is kind of ridiculous for this little thing. I think they're new, like 75 or 80 bucks, but just due to like markup and resale value and everything, the prices on them just skyrocketed. But I finally found one for a good price and in a really cool color too. This is the Armor color. This is supposedly kind of a difficult color to get your hands on, especially brand new, so I'm really excited to get my hands on this thing. And yeah, I think I bought this for like 90 or 95 bucks, which in terms of the Tiny Clash is really not too terrible of a price. Again, they're really only worth like 70 or 75 bucks new, but due to markup, you usually find them about $100. So since I could get this one for less than 100 bucks, I figured I may as well scoop it. And again, it's just in a really sweet little color. You never really see them brand new. A lot of the time you'll get them like used or rashed up or something, so to have a brand new one is friggin' sweet. But if it's anything like the Clash 9, which obviously it will be almost exactly like the Clash 9, just a little smaller version, I'm sure it'll get bit by small fish, big fish, tons of fish. It's going to be a killer of a bait. Alrighty, so these next two baits are actually from the same company. We're going to start with the little multi-jointed guy. So this probably looks pretty familiar to you guys. This is a Throwback Baits flea shad. So this is the multi-jointed version of the Throwback Baits Wake Walker, which you guys have probably seen on my channel, as well as all over social media for the past couple of years. That bait pretty much took the market by storm. As soon as it came out, people were buying that thing left, right, and center. It was incredibly difficult to get your hands on. I was lucky enough to get my hands on one of the SWIMBAIT underground versions, and I've been absolutely crushing it all of last year on that bait. And so I figured I may as well pick up the multi-jointed version. So we got ourselves a little flea shad now. This is the green gill or the candy gill color. I'm not really sure, but it's just like a supernatural bluegill imitator. And again, like I said, this is a multi-jointed bait, so you just want to burn this thing. That's kind of what it was designed for. Was middle of the summer when those fish are super active, you just chuck that thing out and wind it back as fast as you possibly can. Burn it across the surface and those fish will come up and just crush it. I've seen some absolutely devastating eats on this bait, and I'm really excited to put this thing to the test, see if we can get bit by some absolute giants on it. Maybe some pike or muskie or some pickerel or something will bite this thing as well. But yeah, looks fantastic. I hear it performs great as well, and I am really excited to put this thing to the test come the spring, summertime. I can see this thing being an absolute killer up around the shallow weed beds and like up underneath docks and stuff. This is going to be a fun bait to throw around. Like I said, the next couple of baits are going to be from the same company, so this is another throwback bait. This one though is the Bad Bunny. I am really excited that I was able to get my hands on a Bad Bunny. These things have been super hot since they first came out. Where the Wake Walker and the Flea Shad are both made out of like that hard resin material, these Bad Bunnies are actually made out of wood. They're friggin' sweet baits. If you guys know anything about the Bad Bunny, they are also a wake bait, very similar to the Wake Walker. Instead of being a bluegill presentation though, they're actually like a bunny or like a mouse or something like that. Where they differ though is while the Flea Shad and the Wake Walker are both bluegill imitators, this is obviously a bunny or a mouse imitator. But not only did I get myself a Bad Bunny, I also managed to get one of the coolest color patterns on the Bad Bunny I have seen to date. So let me show you guys this little thing. So this is the Cosmic Brownie colorway. This is like a special Christmas edition colorway that they did this past year. I was lucky enough to get in on the drop and pick myself up one of these things. They had a few different colors of these Bad Bunnies, but I personally think that this was the best color that they came out with for this little drop, and I am so jacked to get my hands on it. Again, these bunnies have been a hot commodity since they came out. They have been really hard to get your hands on. They've been selling out almost immediately, and to get my hands on not only a bunny, but one in just such an insane colorway is incredible. But yeah, this is again the Cosmic Brownie color, so it's kind of like a black base with a bunch of iridescent blue and purple in it. Got some white ears, a white tail, and then like a white speckle or paint splatter on it to kind of stimulate or simulate, I should say, the galaxy. Hence the name Cosmic Brownie. It's supposed to be kind of like galaxy themed, but this thing is absolutely sick. I also went with the one with the carbon fiber lip because at my true core, I am a car guy, and anything that I can get with carbon fiber on it, I will be getting. So we got ourselves one of the old Bad Bunnies in that Cosmic Brownie color with the carbon fiber lip. I am so jacked to throw this thing around this coming summer. I can see this being a killer night fishing bait, early in the morning, dirty water. There's a ton of different situations I can see this thing being really good at. As you guys can tell, it's a super loud bait. If I knock it like this, you can probably barely hear me talking. But yes, it's made out of wood. That joint is super loud. When it kicks in the water, it'll click clack super hard together, and that'll make a ton of noise. So again, night fishing, dirty water, that should be a killer. But yeah, got a couple more throwback baits to add to the arsenal. Like you guys saw, we got the Flea Shad, got the bunny. I think at this point now all I need is the chickadee and the mob walker. So hopefully at some point coming up soon we'll be able to get our hands on some of those. But for right now, I think I got like the main three. I got the bunny obviously, which is a little bit more of like a mouse style topwater. We got the Wake Walker, which is the original one, and then of course the Flea Shad, which is just a multi-jointed bait. But at some point we will have all of the throwback baits. I want to get one of their new baits, the Cheat Code, which is like the smaller downsized version of the Wake Walker as well. And I think they're coming out with that Retro Glide at some point as well. So whenever that thing comes out, you know I'm getting my hands on that as fast as possible. But yeah, at one point I'd love to own one of each of the throwback baits, and this is a great little starting spot. Alright, and you know we had to finish it off with a wake bait. This one I am probably the most excited about out of all the baits that I've picked up over the winter. I picked this one up first. I've had my eye on these baits for, God, years at this point. Even before I was throwing big swim baits, I wanted one of these things. I saw them, I thought they were friggin' sick. A couple of my buddies have been catching fish on them for years, so I've known they've been really good baits. A couple of my friends down in Florida have caught double digits on this bait, so I know it catches giants, and I've always wanted to get my hands on one. Between the super unique profile and the super lifelike color schemes, I knew I had to have one at some point. And I found one for probably the best deal I've ever seen one on, so I figured I may as well scoop it before someone else did. But regardless, we got ourselves a UFO. This thing is so freaking sick. So this is the 6-inch gill. This is just their normal sizes in the mothership, which is the bigger upsized version. Again, I'd like to get my hands on a mothership at some point, but they're like $500 most of the time. Like, they're super difficult to get your hands on. If you have to buy them secondhand, they're really expensive. But I figure we may as well start out with the normal sized one. Again, this is just the 6-inch. It's a wake bait. It's not even really a wake and crank. It doesn't really get down super far. It's a super natural color. I believe this is the bluegill color, or like the natural gill color. I don't really know what they call this, but it's almost like a printed on design. Like, it doesn't even look like paint. Like, it just looks like a picture of a bluegill they printed onto a bait. And yeah, just like a 3-piece little multi-jointed wake bait. I am so excited to throw this thing around as well. Again, like I said, this is probably the bait that I'm most excited about, so we will definitely be throwing this thing around pretty much as soon as the water hits like 50 degrees. I'll probably be throwing some wake baits, so you guys will definitely be seeing this thing coming up here pretty soon. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I am really excited to have all these baits, but especially this one in the arsenal, and I'm really excited to see what we can do this coming year with all these new big baits. But yeah, those are all the swim baits that I picked up over the winter for this coming spring. I'm really excited to throw every single one of these things. I can see us getting bit on pretty much all of them. That Nate's Baits is coming out here within the next couple of weeks. Again, once that water hits like high 30s, I am out there. Unfortunately, a lot of the ponds and lakes right now are just literally frozen, so I can't actually get out and do any fishing. But once they unfreeze, once that water is just warm enough to be unfrozen, I'm going to be out there throwing that Nate's Bait, see if we can get a big one to eat it. And throughout the year, you guys are going to be seeing each and every one of these baits in at least a video or two. I am really excited to see if we can catch some fish on these things. But yeah, really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see some more content from me, check and rec 'em, and I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.